one of those like prio bans into the bot side of the map as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there are definitely some AD carries that are probably a lot stronger, especially like, I mean, from what I was watching this morning, you know, champions like Xerxej and Severe were picked as like the back end of the draft, you know, especially with like Fearless draft that I was watching this morning. There were some other prio picks like Ezreal, which surprisingly hasn't been picked this time around, which has gotten a few buffs recently to definitely boost him up as well. But I think the interesting part really is the surprising, you know, really low priority in terms of supports. There's a lot of engaged supports that are very popular right now, like Nautilus and Ornn, which both these champions can really pack a punch and make a big difference when it comes to a fight. So seeing you know, the side of EXS going for Brom as a priority instead of going for this more engaged style support makes me a little bit worried for this composition. You do already have a little bit of engage with someone like Wukong, but I feel like you need that extra bit of follow-up afterwards to try and help out with that engage.
Yeah, I mean, Brom, in a way, kind of still blocks all the incoming projectiles from the likes of Xerxej, right? So I feel like it does have definitely its uses within this draft, but like you were saying, it definitely needs kind of like a second kind of a follow-up with into the team fights. I mean, interestingly enough, like Ornn, like last year, that was kind of like one of like the prio picks. Like it always be sort of like towards the top side of these drafts, but not even considered in the bans, not even considered in the picks this far. We get the Karma coming through here as well, so potentially more likely going to get support down here as well. So in terms of the front line for the side of ESX, it looks like it's mainly reliant on the Nafa now.
No, it is for sure. I mean, they don't really have a lot of frontline. This Karma, there's been a bit of a trend going around at the moment, especially over in China. And with the background of some of these players on this Italian team, there is a lot of scary builds that you can go with Karma right now. There was actually a build this morning over in China where you go for a more tank Karma build. So you're building items like Redemption, you're going Glacial Augment, and you're being more of a tank, and you're trying to spam your shield as much as possible with that crazy bit of movement speed that you're able to get, and the utility as well is definitely going to help out. But we do get a Ziggs, interesting enough. So we have that mage in the mid lane with the Ziggs, but we also have you know, a little bit of extra AP damage with the Volley Bear as well. So this is maybe a little bit different than what I was expecting to see from one of the games I've been watching this morning. Garen as well as a priority has not really been that strong, but hey, I mean, the cooking has happened already in EMEA. EMEA has always been a region that has always come up with these unique picks and these crazy picks that maybe we don't really see too much, especially over in like China, especially. But hey, I'm all here for it. I think in general, the Nard jungle is going to be very strong. The Rise, the Zeri, the late game scaling here for the side on the right hand side is going to be very, very scary.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Garen's going to have his kind of uses as well, right? Obviously, with the silence, we know he's a very sort of like aggressive, especially towards like the mid to late game rather than in the early game. 1v1 against the Volley Bear, I don't think it's probably going to be the easiest matchup for the Garen here. And obviously, with the Wukong, we can imagine quite a few of the ganks potentially happen in place up the top side of the map as well. But like we see there, the Ziggs as well, rounding out the comp for the side of blue team is just that standard kind of mid lane mage, right? The fact that he has that crazy ultimate, potential steal on those neutral objectives is going to be pretty wild for the side of the blue.
I think the big thing really is that when it comes to the competitive meta, and I think we'll see this a lot in, you know, 2 weeks time with the showdown, is what you'll see is a lot of these frontline champions, a lot of these bruisers like Noh, for example, is, you know, a great example, maybe not necessarily in the jungle, but especially in the top lane, in the Baron lane, and also in the mid lane. You see a lot of these bruisers and a lot of these frontline champions that are kind of there for this big massive brawl that happens. We know Wild Rift has this very fast paced game that you really it really comes down to these team fights later on. All of these bruisers going on down, and then you normally have just one champion sitting behind you, the AD carry, that's just dishing out as much damage as possible. So to see Ziggs and Severe both in the same team, normally you see Ziggs down in that bottom lane as kind of that AP damage source. Be interesting to see if they have enough front line with the likes of the Wukong and the Volley Bear to actually sustain some of this damage, especially from someone like Rise that can use his ultimate into the back line and get easy access to someone like Ziggs and Severe in the back line.
Yeah, I mean, it's not though the onto the side of the blue side as well. They obviously have the volley bear that's going to have access into the back line of EXS. Sorry, so obviously they got to make sure they watch out for the volley bear. Obviously, great leap into the back line, potential takedown onto this area, especially with the CC with his with some of his skills as well. But like you were saying as well, like the difference between the meta within the battle and the showdown could be completely different because what we used to see, and especially with the EMEA as well, is the fact that like a lot of like APCs down into the bot side of the map, not really seeing a lot of those ADCs come through. But I think it's kind of
Mhm.
like the after effect of the fact that it's a BO3, right? Like they're not going to kind of like experiment too much with the APCs this time around. And but yeah, obviously we're going to get into game one very soon between these two teams. For those that are new joining, this is going to be the Italy and the Portugal representatives going head to head. And seen already in the chat that Garen in competitives getting a few kind of question marks right now.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a few question marks. I think that we'll have to see when it comes to the game itself. I mean, we're still not in the phase of Garen having his rework yet. It got announced a few weeks ago during that patch preview that during this patch cycle 6.1 we will be getting Garen's rework. Unfortunately, it's not in the game just yet. So this is still like the pre-reworked Garen, and is obviously not as strong at the moment, but it could also be comfort at the same time. I think we have to remember that maybe some of these players, since we are in a battle, maybe don't have a lot of competitive experience compared to some other players that we'll be seeing in a couple of weeks time in the showdown. So sometimes people just fall back to comfort. I know if it was me, for example, playing, I would just pick Xai every single time when I had the possibility. Falling back to comfort is always a great thing to do when you're playing, when you're trying to play at the best level, when you're trying to play at that competitive standpoint, trying to make sure that you're able to, you know, do a lot in terms of making an impact with your comfort pick can make a huge difference.
I mean, you talk about comfort picks, right? I mean, at least yours is kind of meta. I mean, the Zaya there. I mean, I would be locking in Rammus. I mean, that's probably not going to be meta or even seed within the battles or the showdowns within this one. But like you were saying about the Garen, obviously rework that is going to take place within this cycle. Obviously, Nocturne got released like pretty much like a few days ago.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, won't get played in the battles, and I don't believe potentially in the showdowns either. So, any Nocturne fans, if you're hoping for it in chat, it's not going to quite come through. But honestly, with it being a new champion, we don't know if it's busted, if it's kind of balanced, if it would actually work into the battles, or even if it's worth bringing. Because I mean, there is a prize pool on the line as well, right?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, surprisingly, you might be kind of surprised to know, but they actually enabled Nocturne in China this morning. So we actually saw 2 games of Nocturne this morning over in China, and both of them lost. So there isn't really a good track record anyway. So I think it might be a good thing that it's disabled for this tournament. I mean, as you mentioned, normally it's disabled for like 2 weeks. There's also a Philippines tournament coming up in a few weeks time. That one also, if new champions release, they're going to have a 2-week delay. So there is that thing of like, oh, are you able to, you know, make a big impact as well? As we already get a first blood in the mid lane already with the Zeri Karma. This is something that's very normal. You're seeing supports and you're seeing the AD carries go into that mid lane early on to try and get that priority in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a bloodbath already. I mean, it's only been a minute, and we're getting, like, trades here from both the teams. 2-1 already going over to the side of red team. Zeri looking pretty low, so a nice bit of a gank there from the Wukong. Not quite level 4 yet, so he doesn't have his ulti. But again, this is definitely, like, not what we were expecting, right? Like, brawls at this point of the game. Garen spinning to win right now, putting a bit of aggression onto the Bolivarians' top side of the map.
I mean, aggression is always the name of the game, really. Sometimes sometimes you need the aggression to make that big difference. You know, especially when it comes to trying to get ahead early on, trying to make sure that you can get an advantage. As mentioned, with that 2v2 happening in that mid lane, you know, the fights are going to be happening a lot. The Karma wants to play super aggressive as well to make sure that she can get an advantage early on. But a few early kills here is not really a thing that you know, the left team is kind of looking for early on.
Not earlier, but I mean, in terms of obviously, not just the kills, but obviously the effect of the gold here would be great for the side of red or blue. Red currently ahead. Nah, almost getting the last little love tap onto the Ziggs, but it is actually going to be Wukong there. He's able to get it. Azura picking up a kill once more for the blue side, equalizing that kill lead to around about 2-2. But ultimately, the still at the moment, resource heavy is going to be red side for now. They're looking to try and maintain that goal lead, because obviously need itemizations, like you said, for not only the Rise, but also the Zeri.
Yeah, the big thing now is making sure that, oh, okay, the Wukong is looking to engage on some mid lane as well. There's just no time to speak in this game. It feels like we're only 2.5 minutes in and it's already 5 kills on the board. The Wukong playing that aggressive style with first strike already.
Yeah,
making sure that, yeah, I mean, it has been the thing for quite some time, you know, making sure that you play the first strike, you play that aggressive style. Some people have actually gone away from playing Wukong jungle because of some of the nerfs that came on through, playing more into the top sides. So yeah, sometimes it's you know, good to play this aggressive style. I mean, 3 kills early on, snowball play style for that Wukong is definitely very scary because this is exactly what this pick wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely what they want to do in terms of obviously trying to transition their lead for the gold as well over to the blue side. EXS right now are definitely kind of predominantly up into the top side of the map. But yeah, I mean, the interesting point out there is definitely the first strike on Wukong. Very wild. Normally you see unlike picks on like Kayn in the jungle or something like that, something that's going to have like very high burst. Not necessarily always on the Wukong. And normally it's kind of like your Conqueror and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Conqueror is normally the rune that you kind of want to sustain and just do a lot of damage over time. You don't really want to go for that burst damage. But I guess, you know, in terms of the, you know, the composition that, you know, the red team have, as there is another engage happening in mid, the Zeri with the ultimate and the splash damage as well. Karma's already got 1 kill, but Volibear's going underneath their tier 2 tower. We don't even get to see that, but underneath that tier 2 tower, but Zeri gets a shutdown in the end onto the Wukong. I mean, it's just all over the place at the moment. There's a 2,000 goal lead already for the side over in Italy. Volibear is in absolute no man's land at the moment. I'm not too sure where you are, but you're on the complete opposite side of the map, and that is another kill over to the side of Italy. So a few early kills early on, and just a reminder, you know, the Zeri is actually Mumu, who is, you know, some people recognize, and the Rise it's Shio. So when it comes to the players that I think are going to be the main carries for Italy, it's going to be the Zeri, it's going to be the Rise. You know, these are 2 players that have been around for such a long time, and these are some of the best players in EMEA. So giving someone like Mumu early kills like this, especially onto the Zeri, Bloodthirster already completed after just before 5 minutes, it's a scary thing to you know, to see if you're you know, on the Portuguese side right now.
Yeah, in terms of obviously scaling, like we were saying, like that, the Zeri needs the optimization. Obviously, as they grow into the game, scaling is definitely going to be the issue that the side of blue team do face. And with it, Mumu, I mean, he did even have his whole full like 3rd tier item, the Bloodthirster being built there, just the Gluttonous Greaves, and it's already doing a lot of kind of like mayhem for the side of blue team. But GPS must have disconnected for the Volibear, right? Like he was stuck in the red side for quite some time, and it looked like to go for the Baron here. They'll go for the Enchanted Ensemble, but it's actually going to be the blue team that locks it in here. So claiming the Enchanted Ensemble, taking it away from red team, getting a few kills though. It's going to be the penance they have to pay. Is this going to be an ace for the side of EXS?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for EXS on the blue side, I think the difficulty really was the Ziggs was on the opposite side of the map as Mumu dashes forward here, tries to get that last little bit of damage. The flash forward in the end, maybe a little bit too far with the Wukong there by Ziggs' side. Is going to be able to trade back into the kill. Garen is going to be a little bit stuck here as well. Maybe can still try and escape. Might need the help of the Karma with the shielding and the movement speed. There we go. The Garen going to be able to escape in the end. But yes, as you mentioned, the Rift Herald in the end going over to the Wukong, so that's quite nice to get a little bit of extra gold potentially in that mid lane. As you can see, being summoned now in that mid lane to try and get that extra bit of gold. Doesn't take the first tower though, unfortunately. With it, it's not going to do enough damage as of yet, but they're using it as a distraction right now to go towards that dragon. But as I was mentioning, EXS, it was a 4 versus 5, so it was actually a miracle really that they took the Rift Herald. Ziggs was on the complete opposite side of the map, whilst this dragon is taken down in the on the side of EXS. It looks like the red team want to try and take this mid lane tower, but not going to do enough damage just yet.
Not going to do enough damage, but I mean, it looks worse for wear. The fact that that blue side T1 hasn't even been hit by the Enchanted Ensemble, they're definitely working down with the Gnar here as well. That's going to be the first turret takedown for the side of Nox right now, able to claim that up, clean up that mid lane. Very much going to be putting a lot of pressure onto the side of ESX in this first match of this best of three. But great rotation here from the side of red team. Nox coming in. They're able to claim the kill onto the volley bear as well. Wukong is trying to come in with a bit of a saving grace, claim up and sweep up some kills for his own team. But I don't think he's able to get anybody from the side of Nox just yet. I mean, just a little bit of like a Hail Mary play here, but the minion wave crashing in here means that this is going to be another T1 takedown.
I mean, this is a problem with this kind of style that Wukong is bringing here with that first strike. Yes, you're going to do a lot of damage, but you're very squishy at the same time as Ryze looks to use the ultimate onto the back. Going to be able to stop some of the damage here thanks to spell shield, and the movement speed is going to be able to escape. But yeah, as I mentioned, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage with first strike, but you're also super squishy at the same time. So if you're not able to one-shot someone, if you can't burst someone quick enough, you're just going to be pretty much a sitting minion. You know, you're going to be so squishy for the likes of the Xerxej and the Ryze, which is going to already be doing a crazy amount of damage. So it's definitely a difficult situation, as we're seeing nearly a 10,000 gold lead already at 8 minutes here for the side of Nox. I mean, again, as I mentioned already, this is one of the favorites going into the Rift Legends battle, because this team has so much experience, as I mentioned already, with the likes of Mumu, the likes of Shio as well. These are teams and players that have played together for quite some time. So again, having the comfort picks, having the likes of the Xerxej for Mumu, the Ryze for Shio as well, and you can see they're just playing aggressive over and over again. They're dashing forward. The Brum's not going to be able to do anything. Karma ults with a huge AoE damage, and the pullback as well from the Gnar means that they're going to be able to tower dive underneath the inhibitor. They are going to lose a few members for it as well, though. They need to be careful that they don't go too far, but they'll take the W in the end. They'll take that tier 2 tower in the top lane. No inhibitor tower, but still they're going to be able to take all of the jungle camps, all of the extra gold as well from this mid lane tower. And it does mean that, hey, Wukong's going to try and dive in, but hey, you're not one-shotting the Xerxej. What's she going to do? Ooh. She's going to one-shot you back.
Yeah, dodging the zigs a little bit there, but she's definitely going to be able to make it there, as Via was just running down the lane with that ultimate, obviously giving the movement speed and the attack speed over to Ziggs Braum, just to kind of make sure that, hey, you're looking to push this lane. We're looking to get that T1 into the mid lane as well. A little bit of a bonus in terms of the gold right now, but Ziggs maybe looking a little bit worse for wear. He probably needs to use a bomb to get out of there, but it is going to be the keystone from Karma that's going to get that slowdown onto the Ziggs as well. So already we're seeing here that Nox looking very strong in this one. Pull back by the Gnar, just feeding the kills into his team. And I mean, it's going over to Shio as well. So that's definitely where you want those resources going. I mean, currently 4-0-3.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in if you're on the side of EXS. You're already so far behind in tempo. You've already pretty much lost nearly the whole of your side of the map. All the towers outside of their base have been taken, except for that tier 2 in the bottom side of the map. That first Rift Herald and the first objective might have gone over to EXS, but this game in general is just, it looks completely lost right now. There's just so much power going on to Xerxej and the Karma. As I mentioned, this utility that Karma is bringing to these fights. Not really going for that tank build as I was expecting, more going for the anti-shield here for the item, trying to get a little bit more burst damage. But that Glacial Augment Room just helping you with the utility, the shields and the heals as well. Look at this, Xerxej are just playing with fire right now.
Yeah, huge engage though. I mean, Volibear is going to go in, try and get the back line. So that is Xerxej going down, but Ryze is kind of left for it's feast or famine right now for the side of the red team. Getting the kill, double kill, almost a triple kill going over to Shio there. That's 4 of the members down of EXS as they are looking to try and take this inhibitor as well. Like both, we have Garen just literally flash, one hit, boom, he's down.
Yeah, double flash in and the kill as well. We are looking at 9 kills to 23, 15,000 gold lead here for Nox in game number 1, and might just be already looking back at the drawing board here really for EXS. Again, Wukong trying to do as much burst damage as possible, but can't even do enough damage to take down the Ryze, and Ryze is able to get the solo kill pretty much onto the Wukong with a little bit of help there from the Karma. But this Wukong build was able to get 3 kills in the early game, was able to snowball a little bit, but we're at a point in the game now where there are defensive items coming on through, like that Seraph Embrace being upgraded for Ryze to get that extra shield. So you're not just not able to do enough damage with this build, and you're really seeing the weakness and why this sort of build isn't really too popular when it comes to competitive play.
Yeah, I just have to give props over to Shio and Rise there. Man sprinted out of that team fight like Mo Farah. Like, he was gone. He did the damage and just got out of there. But it looks like Nox are going to try and push, obviously, for the Baron Nashor here, just to try and get that kind of final sweep, as obviously they've taken the inhibitor down to the bot side of the map as well right now. So, ultimately, blue side is not looking too hot right now. Yes, they have, like, into the draft, we honestly thought, wow, they have a strong front line. But it's what they've done with this front line. It's not been optimized. There is just so much kind of like potential of damage going through from Nox here, especially scaling into this part of the game.
Doing there?
Ziggs, he definitely just he just Zanya's in middle of the lane, just like saying like, "Take me now, Lord, take me now."
Is that flanking Ziggs? That's the first time I've ever seen that in Wild Rift history. That's a new one that maybe is a new 2025 thing, just trying to flank with Ziggs, trying to do as much damage as possible, but that's not going to help him in this game. It looks like game number 1 here is soon going to be over. They're going to try and dive underneath the Nexus. Oh, the Rise ultimate actually nearly went underneath the base there, tried to bait his entire team to try and get them underneath the base to die, but no one falls for the bait this time. The only bait they have is taking down the Nexus, and Nox with a dominant victory here in game number 1, securing that victory to start things off. Great start here for Nox.
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like it was just kind of like blood flirt, like thirst across the entire game 1, right? Like, it started like before we even got into the game, like first blood was already on the board. We kind of missed how it even happened, and then after that, it just kind of translated into more kills, and then the turret started falling. It was just constantly not what we used to seeing, right? Definitely within like the showdown kind of play style as well. There's definitely a lot more tit for tat, a lot more kind of coy game play that we normally see, where they're just kind of like respecting each other, but this time around, there's definitely no respect on the Rift.
No respect. So, I mean, it was dominant. It was just aggression from the start, really, was it? I mean, it was just right from the get-go. As soon as we got into that game, there was like 3 kills in like the first 2 minutes. I was like, is this the sort of game that we're getting? Is this the sort of Wild Rift that we're going to be getting this weekend? I'm all for it, to be fair. I mean, I'm all happy if it's that sort of gameplay we're getting all weekend to see what is